What's up, guys? This is JC from Round One in Latin Evolution Radio, guys. This is an amazing night. I have a special guest tonight. I have somebody who's gonna blow your mind away. I'm telling you, this is crazy. It's been a few weeks since I really want to have her in my show, and I'm telling you, it's a perfect timing because, as you know, yeah, like a few days ago was International Women's Day. So this is gonna be amazing. It's gonna blow your mind away. So make sure you call your friends, call everybody right now in town, and tell them that my friend Lisa Harris is here in town. She's ready to take it out of the field. I'm so blessed. I'm telling you, it's an honor for me. I'm feeling so humbled to have somebody who just be touching lives. He's touching so many people, to make a change. I'm telling you, this is something that's gonna blow your mind away. This interview, I've been waiting for so long to really have a talk to her. And share the experiences that she have. And believe me, it's gonna be a blessing for you to listen this talk show. So just share it. Make sure you download the app, and don't forget to right now. You're tuned with the Latin Evolution Radio Online, the hottest radio in town, guys. Así que bájate la aplicación en este momento. Estás en Latin Evolution Radio y conéctate y comparte con tus amigos que estamos conectados en la más caliente de Minnesota. Lisa, what's going on, girl? I'm so blessed to have you here. Oh my gosh,
oh my
man.
goodness, the
Talk
energy,
to me.
JC.
I know. I love that.
Wow. I just feel so energized now that I'm here. And yes, it's so amazing to be here a couple days after International Women's Day.
Amazing.
Celebrating women and
my
all
gosh.
that we bring
The
to
glory
the
that
world.
you guys need. Exactly.
So I am so thrilled to be here and,
Oh my
and
gosh.
finally having a chance to chat with you. So
I
thank
know.
you.
Like we're gonna have an amazing night tonight. Sharing all the experiences. At least at this little time that we have, because I know you have so many stories to tell me. But I'm gonna try to connect and recollect everything that I can in such a small time that we have. But one of the things I want to know too, that I want to tell everybody, you are a mother, you're a coach too. You are a life coach, of course. You're a wife. And you're a storyteller. Talk to me about that. Talk to me about how to count that passion of of being a coach and empowering women that people don't know about that.
Oh gosh, where do I even start? I've been doing this for quite some time now, about 5-6 years now as a narrative coach, and it really just started with me with my book. So I published a book back in 2016, and my journey really began in that space where I used my writing to kind of help me work through some things.
Exactly.
And that writing really helped me. And when I started to promote my book and do book signings and poetry readings, women would start to share themselves with me.
What inspired Lisa Harris to build the book? Because I know you have an amazing book, Unveil.
Yeah, Unveil Beauty.
Unveil Beauty. Where the seed of greatness start from you? Who put that seed inside of you? They say, you know what, this tree suddenly grew up and gosh, I exploded, and I really had to write this book. What inspired you to do that?
I think the biggest thing for me was when I was struggling, I started to write. And I kept writing, and I had a girlfriend who said, your poetry needs to go out into the world. And I thought she was crazy because before that, I was in corporate America. I was climbing up the ladder, doing my business. And she said, write a book. And I said, that's crazy. Why would I do that? I don't even know where to start. And I realized that there was poetry within me that needed to come out into the world. And I didn't want my children to grow up never knowing that their mother was a poet. I wanted them to know all about me. And it was also a way to heal. So that really began my journey of writing the book. From then it was a vessel to all the work that I do now. So it really just started with writing. I needed a place.
So your passion really started for your writing. Is that right?
Yep. It started from my poetry.
So so if you think that as a man, as a woman, because you really focus on women most of the time. I would say like 100% of the time. Right? You need to find a way to get that passion started, because a lot of women are not listening to us right now, and they don't know how to start. And I wanted to tell and teach people. So, okay, Lisa, tell me, how do we start? Or like I know a lot of people's gonna reach after this.
Yeah.
But where do you start? Because I know you said you started writing. Like, what is the beginning? Where is the beginning? How do you take the steps? Say, you know what? I'm moving forward with my life. I want to really take the step of like being passionate, Lisa.
Yeah, I mean, I really think it's really important for women to surround themselves with other people that can lift them up. So, whether you are struggling or whether you're interested in a new passion or a new career, it's surrounding yourself with the right people that can help you to believe that it's possible. And I think that really is the first step. For me, it was my girlfriend saying, "Do it. What do you have to lose?" Right? And so I think that's really the beginning of any type of journey, whether it is, like I said, a career change or, really healing from the inside. You need that support around you.
One of the things that I want to touch base to right now too, it's like you just don't touch people's life. It's just you want to go deep.
Yeah.
And one of the things that when I follow your Instagram and your Facebook, because I'm like I hack you all over. I'm one of your biggest fans, even though you're not reaching out to man. But it's such a good, your stories are amazing and stuff like that. The way one of the things that I brought in my notes here, what I mean, that I want to say too. You are, you're not an emotional teacher. You are the real teacher. Because there's so many people out there that say like, I'm a life coach, I'm a life coach, I'm a life coach, and they don't really give you the right tools to open. But you're really passionate to teach the women the narrative, the story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what? You know what I mean? How do you do that? Because there's so many like people like I'm a coach right now, and the reality is that you're not. You're really hurting other people because your story don't mean anything.
Yeah.
But you really like have the backup. So you know what? I really have a real story to tell you, and I really am passionate to change your life.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say the journey for that actually began when I started doing my storytelling events. So to give the audience a little background, so when I published my book, I started to do storytelling events. And those events, I invited women to the stage to share their stories. And at first, it was really empowering and it was a great way for women to release these stories that they were carrying. But what I discovered was they needed a guide. They needed somebody to help them work through these stories, not just to write them, but to kind of work through their emotions of what the stories meant to them. And so I started working with the women behind the scenes, and people started saying, "Oh, you're kind of like a life coach, or maybe you're kind of like a writing mentor." And everyone wanted to give me a label. They wanted to say, "You are this or you are that." And for so long, I kept saying to myself, "Well, I'm not any of those things. I'm a lover of stories." And I think that there's something beautiful in everybody's story, regardless of what point on the journey you're at. So I started to look into narrative coaching, and I discovered there was this whole world. So for those who don't know, I'm a narrative coach and I'm certified in narrative therapy. So my whole goal is to help women heal through the stories of their lives. I don't want women to just go out and share their stories without healing through them, because I see so many women that are just giving their stories away.
There's so much pain out there.
There's so much pain, right? And so I really feel like your story is sacred to you. And for a woman, it's just like your body. Your body is sacred to you and it shouldn't be given for anybody. And just like your stories, they're sacred to you. And so you need to understand your story. You need to heal through your story. And when you're ready, that's when you should be sharing it with others. It's not to give it away for other people to be inspired by, for other people to use it for their movement, unless you can move through it first. Then it's a gift.
And you know what? I love the idea of the storytelling, because you know what? When people call me all the time, people send me messages all the time. Man, I love the way that you speak, and they love that. You know what I mean? Like you're a life coach, and I always tell people, I'm not a life coach because my life is not your life, and my experiences are not your experience, and your pain is not my pain.
Yep.
I got my experiences and I have my own stuff inside of me, but it's never gonna be the same as you. You never, because you didn't feel what I felt when I was in that moment, getting abused or getting like people bullying me or anything that I went through. And that's what I tell you, like maybe I can give you an example. I can give you some ideas, but your story is your story. And I love that of you when you said, I'm a storyteller to heal people. And I think it's such a beautiful way to put it out there, because there's so many misconceptions right now of life coach.
Yep.
And there's so many people who like want to help people who they don't have the right tools, and they're really hurting people. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
Especially women,
Yeah.
Who really want to take the step and really hurting all the women and anybody, especially in this world that is completely toxic. Is that right?
Yeah, I would love to share a little bit about my point of view on life coaching versus therapy versus the work that I do.
Exactly.
And I think this is really important for women to understand that there's a space for all of those, right? They offer different types of tools for what women need in that moment. And so life coaching is very focused on self. So in life coaching, they're very focused on your belief systems, your values, and how you can move forward to really capitalize on what you want in life, right? And therapy is self focused as well, but it's backwards. It's like go to the past and heal and resolve those so that you can be in the present. So you have life coaching moving you forward on self, you have therapy going backwards to bring you to the present on self. But narrative coaching is about the narrative. It's about the story of your life. So you're not only focused on yourself, you're focused on all the things in your life that make up your story that have impacted you, right? Where you lived, who you were friends with, who your family is, how experiences impacted you. As on top of that, yourself. So it's a combination of the world around you, the people around you, and yourself. And I always say to people with narrative coaching and narrative therapy, you're looking at the past and you're looking at the present and you're moving forward into the future, but you don't exist in the world alone. So it's important to understand yourself and all of the things that have impacted your life around you. So I think that's what's a really important distinction between some of those different fields. And within narrative therapy and narrative coaching, we truly believe that you are not the problem, problems are problems, and that you have the power to change how you tell your story and what stories that you tell.
And one of the things that I want to touch base to, man, I mean, I love to say like the power, but in your talks, in your sessions, and everything that you have done, you use some amazing keywords, and I want to say that tonight. Like, every time that I see you say like uncover, unveil the beauty, change your narrative, reclaim your power.
Yeah.
Do you think as a woman, they lost that power? They lost those words because at the same time we live in such a toxic world right now,
Yeah.
and everybody's no, no. As a woman, you cannot do it. You need to stay home because you're not the man of the house or this and that. And it's for a long time it's been pushed and pushed and pushed and hit. And do you think they forgot those words? Because in your books and everything that you do, you always like mention those words, uncover. You know what I mean? And I love that the
Yeah.
unveil part.
Yeah.
Where the unveil came from?
Oh gosh, unveil that. Oh my goodness, I don't even know where that came from, and it's a word that resonates so deeply for me because it is about going underneath, right? And I always talk about unveiled beauty, and beauty can mean so many things. It can mean the inside, it can mean the
Exactly.
outside, and uncovering that and unveiling that. It's really opening it up for the world. I do think words are really impactful, and lots of times there's all of these narratives and all of these messages that women have to navigate around. And I really want to be here to remind women that you have control. You always have. You always have had control of your mind, your body, the way you look at life, and how you move forward. And it's time for you to just own that. And you don't need to sit in all the messages that the world throws at you. You can control that. And you can control your story. And so, one of the things, even in narrative therapy and in narrative coaching, is this idea that you can tell the story the way that serves you so that you can move forward. It's your
Yes.
story.
Yes. No, I love that, but I want to go back a little bit more to your own story because I know people
Mhm.
want to hear your story too. Because a lot of people out there, a lot of people they see you, a lot of women see you as the big hero and the big Lisa Harris. You know what I mean? Big Lisa Harris, our company. I'm such a blessing to have you around here too. Don't forget, guys, that you need to. I'm telling you right now, if you are renting, you need to stop renting right now, and you need to call Yvonne and Isaias and the Gato Team Realty. So stop renting, guys. You need to buy a house right now because the rates are low right now, and you have to count on see the Galaxy Realty, the number one in Minnesota. I'm telling you, those guys are gonna blow your mind away how fast they can get your house right away. So don't forget to call them. You know what I mean? Like Yvonne Isaias, the number is 612-578-9762. And I know you love Yvonne too,
I
so
do love
I
you.
know, I know that. But one of the things that I want to touch base with you too is like I said before, everybody thinks you're a hero. You know what I mean? In a lot of ways, was the way that you talk, the way that you bring the stories, you bring girls together for different kind of events. But one of the biggest fears that nobody know about Lisa that she got to go through? What is the biggest walls that you've been in all this career since you decide to do Unveil? Um, what are the walls and the fears and the chains that hold you back sometimes? And you're like, I have to get rid of this these fears or stuff like that, that people can see that you're a human too. Because some
Yeah,
people feel like,
absolutely.
I mean, like when I heard Tony Robbins the other day, he was saying like, you know what? Some people think that I'm amazing, but I'm not sometimes. Sometimes I cry, sometimes I feel sick. Come on, guys, I'm human too, but I'm here to like help you. What is Lisa's story as far as the fears and the walls and the mountains you have to go every single day? For example, today you told me like just get to the studio, you told me like, JC, I'm really tired.
Yeah.
And some people say like, Lisa Harry's tired for real?
Oh my God. If you see me out there, I'm running around doing all sorts of stuff. Yeah, I would say the biggest thing that, is a reminder of my own humanity is this whole journey started from my own healing journey, and every step of the way I was growing and healing with the women. And I think deep down in my heart, I think I created this business and this movement because I needed the women. I needed
And
them
it's a
probably
big
more than
movement
they
that you're
need.
moving.
Yeah.
It's a big movement that you're moving right now, especially in this area too.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel like I needed them just as much as maybe they needed me. And I needed to surround myself with more women because I wasn't feeling that I was in my power. And it wasn't until I was surrounded by them.
so you were living in pain.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
kind of pain you were living?
Well, I had just recently left corporate. And I think I had been working so much on my career that I had buried a lot of childhood pain that I experienced when I was much younger. And I am a woman who's been impacted by childhood sexual abuse. And so that was part of my story that I just buried. In order to move, I had to ignore that. And then when I stopped moving, it came up to the surface and I didn't know what to do with it.
Because he's always there.
Yeah, it was always there and I didn't know what to do with it and I didn't know how to lean into the people close to me. So I isolated myself and I started to write. And then I realized I was lonely and then I created this platform of women to surround myself with that raised me as I was raising them. And it just turned into this just beautiful community of women.
Exactly.
And so, I mean, that was my original journey. And that's when when I started sharing my story is when I realized the power of changing that story. When I share my story, I often talk about me being this brave young girl. And I don't think I ever told that story to myself that way.
Wow.
I told myself that, I was isolated. I was,
You were lost.
I was lost, I was abused, and I never really told myself that I was brave. And in the story that I wrote, in the story that I speak out loud and that I've shared on stages, is that I am brave. I'm extraordinary brave. And so that changed how I even thought of my whole experience. And today, because of that story, I don't even really think about my childhood situation at all. That's something that happened to me. That's part of my journey. That's part of my story. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here today. And I embrace it.
And you know what, Lisa, I'm so proud of you saying that because not everybody have the guts to say stuff like that, especially, online, on radio, on TV. And I went through the same situation that you go. As a man, sometimes, I went through a sexual abuse too.
Mm-hmm.
Believe me, it's such a pain that you have to go through. And a lot of people see me all the time smiling. And right now, like just right now, you told me like, man, I love your energy. You know what I mean? And people's always like, you're smiling and you're always like, happy and peace and everything and going to the beach. But they don't know that I went through some pain. And I know that I was like, and when you go through pain, if you're really good, you know how to hide it really well.
Oh, yeah.
And you hide it in a little back in the room and nobody knows that. And when you come to your house, you're like, except the back room.
Don't open that room.
Don't open that room because I'm going to start crying.
Yeah.
I'm going to start crying. I don't want to remember that room that is so dark and I'm really afraid to open it again. But you know what? When I took the decision to open that room and say, I'm going to forgive what happened to me because really I was so young and I didn't have control over that. I went through the Matrix situation where you had the two pills. I was like, where I'm going to take pills and I'm going to be like submissive my whole life.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be on the other side when I'm saying like, you know what? No, I have a future. My past cannot define my present.
Yeah.
I want to move forward, and I really move forward. And look where I am right now. I'm so blessed to be here, and I'm so blessed to be with Lisa here. In round one, señoras y señoras. Guys, you had to come and visit me in Tiny Heart Studio. The best photos, they Ari in Minnesota, Ari Tiny Heart Studio. You can call me at 407-860-9598. Believe me, we want to give you the best digital pictures that you are looking for. So come and Richie, with two studios, one in St. Cloud and one in Chanhassen, you're gonna have to come and look at us. So one of the things I want to touch base to is like, so you find something that I love from my buddy Isaiah Williams, who he was here early before you. And he always said, "You find your beauty in your struggle." Is that right?
Yes, yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, because you can't, the story, the only way to find peace and move forward is to look at the dark. You have to look at it. But then you have to uncover all the other forgotten moments in your life that surrounded you. So even like in the darkest moment in your life, there was something. There was some sort of light that maybe you keep forgetting about, but there was some sort of light in that moment. And I really invite the women to start going on a quest to find those forgotten stories so that they realize throughout their life there were just as many bright moments. They've just occupied too much of their time focusing on that other story. So the only way to heal through it is to call it out, to see it, to say that is what happened, and then to just move through it. And now when I share my story, I remember the first time that I shared it, I couldn't get through it without crying. And then the second time I shared it, it was getting choked up. But then today, when I share it, it's my story.
Oh, and I love it.
There is not
story
pain
makes you
in it
stronger. Is
anymore.
that right?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I went through the same thing with with my dad. For a long time, my dad. I'm from Ecuador, and my dad is a really I don't want to call him famous, but a really well-known guy in town, but he is in the whole country. And I was living under his shadow for a long time, so everybody didn't call me JC, or they call me like, oh, this is Davidson. And I was living under horrible shadow, and I hate him for that reason. I hate him because I was like, I don't want to be that. So I ended up running away. It was crazy. I grew up like, half Christian, half Jewish. My parents came like that, and so it was a crazy life. Like, and I remember hiding it and hating it for so long. And you say like telling the stories. My mom ended up paying. We went to Argentina. We used to live in Argentina. I told the story before, and to this seminar. And my mom kind of tricked me, because I have a lot of pain inside of me, a lot of hate. And I wanted to kill my dad one time with a baseball bat. My dad was so sad. He said, "I can't believe you hate me so much." And my dad's been a wonderful dad. He always wanted to protect me, to take care of me, but he was so busy. He was with work corporate America too. It's like trying to make it work. Like he provides for everything. Sometimes we forget as parents. That point. They don't want the OG money. They want just the time to play a little bit. And and we're all guilty of that as parents. That we're trying to make it, and we forget about the little things that matter. But and I'm forgiving of that. So I went to Argentina to tell my story really fast. And I have this preacher who was there, with different coaches, and tell me about forgiveness and how he told me like, put me in a room and told me like, you need to remember your stories. And it's amazing how I forgot my stories sometimes. There were so gaps in the line of my stories in my mind. It's like, but I remember this. And then when he again, in a few more hours, he came again and he interviewed me again. Then wow, I forgot about this, and I was like, remember story after story, and that's when you be able to be free. And I can tell you right now, I have a full freedom, and I have a wonderful relationship with my dad now. Like we're like, man, I call him almost every day, and hey dad, what's going on? He always called me to that. So I love you, stuff like that. But it's amazing what you're doing, Lisa. Reaching the deep of women, because like right now we live in such a toxic world. And I was calling that we lost the human connection. Don't you think we lost the human connection because of all these media that make us look like we are so good, and really we're full of pain? Don't you agree with that?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about your story, if you don't mind, because
Please.
Narrative coaching and narrative therapy really focuses a lot on relationships. And one of the things that when I'm talking to women and they're struggling either with a relationship with a family member or even their spouses, is really understanding what is that story that you've told yourself about that person. And if it's somebody in your life, like I hear a lot of people saying, okay, create these boundaries. And if this person is toxic in your life, get rid of them, right? And in some cases, that might be something you need to do in the moment. But I know even with family members, there's a lot of people in your life that maybe don't have the same kind of energy that you have, that positive energy. But deep in your heart that you always will want them in your life, right? And so if you're never going to discard them, and they might never change or they might never heal, but you still want to have a relationship with them, how do you connect yourself to that person, or how do you see them in a different way? So a lot of times we're working through, okay, you're not going to get rid of them. So why don't you start looking at their story in a different way so that you can heal that in yourself, knowing that that's somebody that you're always going to want in your life. So we have a lot of coaching sessions about relationships.
So you go really deep.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's something that, like, people don't want to go deep. People don't want to remember, their past. And sometimes it's so important to go back and say, you know what, I'm going to clean home. I want the last room in my house to be clean, and I'm going to put some light there. And I really think that, in this world right now that we are, it's so toxic. I mean, I grab the music and I squeeze them and blood come out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I always say that, I mean, it's like we're so disconnected in the families, between relationships, between, fathers and kids, you know what I mean? And it's horrible right now, the situation that we're going. A lot of people, we are suffering even though we don't want to say it.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of my friends that reach with me, they tell me, you know what, and I look their Facebook lives, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, they're in Florida. Oh my gosh, the celebration, baptism. They look like they're having a wonderful life. And then a friend of mine, he the other day said, you know what, I'm ready to walk out.
Yeah.
I'm ready to walk out, and I don't want to do this, you know what I mean, and this and that, and it's crazy, you know what I mean. I'm like, why you want to walk out? I say, because it's just, you know what I mean, I feel lonely. I feel alone. But on Facebook, they look like they're having a lot of fun. He was in Florida today, and I was like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And the deep people is hurt inside so bad. One of the things I'll tell you. So Lisa, what do you think? There's hope out there? Is there really hope in this world right now?
That's all we have. That's all we have is hope. I think that people need to. The bravest thing that we can do is to look at the dark spaces and open those doors that we don't want to open. And other people
why do you think people is afraid to ask for help? Because there's so many women out there, and I'm telling you right now, if you're a woman out there, you're looking for help, if you want to go deep, Lisa Harris is here to help you. I'm telling you, you have to come to your meetings, I mean, I know she have a book, you can definitely get her online, because there's a lot of tools, but Lisa, I want you to tell me,
it's hard.
How do you do it?
Well, the reason women don't ask for help specifically, and people in general, is it's hard. Like even when I started working on myself, like it's hard. You ask one question and it opens up a whole new window to something else. And then you're digging down there, like every layer that you let go of, it opens up new
You think they're gonna judge you? You think you're gonna be judged?
No, I just think the work is really hard. I do think some women are worried about what other people, might think if they're, going to therapy or they're reaching out for help. That means that they're not strong and they can't do it themselves. But the reality is the bravest thing that you can do is work on yourself. And it's the best gift that you can give to your family is to be a better healed, empowered person. And I think one of the biggest pains that we have in this world is that we keep transferring down pain to our children without even realizing it. And if you're still dealing with a lot of darkness in your heart and fear and shame, you're also passing that down to your children. And so I think, people are always talking about all the great things they can do for their children, more time, these gifts, or get them a college education. Even the smartest, most successful people in the world with the millions of degrees are suffering, right? So I think the best thing that we can do for ourselves,
and that's something that I want to touch base to, like something that you say right now. Even the richest men and women in the world, you were in corporate America, and there's a lot of women right now out there, they're successful, they have businesses, and they are so in pain and they don't know how to do it. I want you to touch base about that because there's so many women out there who they look successful from the outside, but they're living some miserable, sad, lonely lives inside. I want you to touch base on that because that's so vital in your things that you do and what we're gonna say to the world right now.
Yeah, I mean, to those women, I was you. So and I took a longer route I worked on myself by myself until I realized that I needed other people. But I just really encourage those women to slowly find ways to feed their soul. And so, if you're not ready to call somebody and make a life coaching appointment or a therapy appointment, there are other things that you can do. You can start reading self-care books. You can start listening to podcasts and radio stations where people are talking about different tools that they can do. You can start just by journaling and writing your feelings down. Finding a way to get it out of your head is really important. I mean, the process of healing really does take a whole different level of growth when you start writing it and actually speaking it out loud. So sometimes it's just a matter of writing and journaling. So it's funny when I think about like a long, long time ago, like I think about like Anne Frank, who wrote her diary, right?
Amazing story.
Right. And she wrote her diary and she was going through horrific, right?
Yes, exactly.
And I think there was this, back in those days, there was this idea of your personal journey, your personal journal or your diary that was just very common. Like people wrote in diaries a lot back then.
Yes.
And I think we've gotten away from that. That's a very personal tool that people can use without going to therapy, right? Like therapy isn't the answer for everything and not everybody has access to it.
Exactly,
so how can you do things for yourself to get all of those emotions out in a positive way that doesn't hurt anybody? Writing is such a beautiful way to begin that journey if you're not ready to take those bigger steps.
I said that one of the things that I want to touch base to is like unveil the beauty. It's one of the things that I want to touch right now in my show. It's like, girls out there, women out there, you don't need all those fake filters. You don't need to unveil. You know what I mean? I hate when women put like, 500 filters. Guys, man, it's beauty inside of you. You guys are gorgeous out there. You know what I mean? And I'm telling you, I get upset because I'm like, do you don't see yourself in your beauty? And I think we're so fake putting all the stuff, and it's something that, when I read your unveil, you have to really like take all those masks out, say like, like you're worth it. Is that right? You know what I mean? It's like, because, now that I'm in the radio stuff like that, so many girls and guys reaching me and telling me, what, like, how do you do it? What is the key of success? And I'm like, there's no key. It's all about, be grateful. Be not be ungrateful. Be grateful for what you have and the people around you and the blessings that we have to understand who we are. Is that right?
Yeah. And I mean, I agree with that. There's no key to success. There's no perfect advice.
The seven steps, like you're
yeah, right. 7 steps.
The 7 steps.
Tomorrow
the 7
it's 5 steps. It's 10 steps. There, and nobody can be the expert.
The 15-minute apps.
Yes, 15 minutes. Oh, I need that. I need the 15-minute app. But yeah, there's no right answer. There's no formula, and I think that's also the part that when I work with women, I always say to them, I'm not the expert of your life. You are. I'm just here to guide you and help you uncover yourself.
You're like the Master Jedi.
Master Jedi.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll be the Master Jedi.
Teach another Jedi stuff to find the Force. Is that right?
Yes, to find their own.
Find their own Force of beauty.
Yeah.
And you know what? When you talk about beauty, I'm telling you, it's such a beauty out there. And I feel we all have beauty inside. You know what I mean? That people don't understand that. People steal that. Every single day because we think like I want to look like a Kardashian. And so sorry, baby, but you're not a Kardashian. You are you.
You are you.
And that's the beauty of you.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I don't want to be like so many people back in the days. You're like, I want to be like Brad Pitt. And I was like, I don't want to be like Brad Pitt. You know what I mean? When he goes to Florida, he cannot get a tan like me.
You want to be a Latin Brad Pitt?
Yeah, exactly.
No, you want to be
I want to be J.C.Campos, man.
Right.
The one and only. Guys, this is Lisa Harris right now. I'm telling you, we're having a blast here today. Latin Evolution Radio. Download the app, and follow us in the hottest radio in town. You know what I mean? I know she was laughing here because she said that I'm so energetic. I'm telling you, man. And I didn't have a Red Bull. Normally I have a Red Bull here next to me. I just have a Diet Coke, guys. Believe me, I'm not lying to you. I want to thank everybody who's following us right now. Carmelito, ¿cómo estás? Jesus, my buddy from Wilma, what's going on, guys? Victor, thank you for following me. Rachel, Oh my gosh, Rachel Rafford, man, she was here like few weeks ago. She's an amazing speaker too. Rachel, thank you for watching. I'm telling you, she has an amazing story, and I love Rachel. I know she have her. She always inspired me. I always follow her. You know what I mean, and we love Rachel. For everything everything the message that she have. Hero too, my buddy Hero too, BJ. He's an amazing rapper too. Amazing guy. And gosh, man, thank you so much, all you guys, for keep online and follow us and everything. But guys, we're going back here to Lisa Harris. Lisa, talk to me on something really important. What about this new generation? And I hear and I read yesterday this article saying like this is the last generation, the lost generation,
The lost.
the lost generation. There's no more hope for this generation that's coming. I said, Lisa Harris, what do you think about that? Because I want to hear it too.
I think that's the most ridiculous thing ever. I mean, if we keep saying that, people are going to believe that.
Exactly.
I mean, I think that's the part that really, really gets to me is the narratives that we hear out there, right? If you keep saying you're lost, if you keep saying you're broken, if you keep saying, all of these things that have a negative connotation, people are going to believe it. You are putting truth out into the world as you speak it. There is so much hope and beauty, and literally 98.7% of the world is really full of love and wanting to connect. And even the person that you think you don't like, their values, their beliefs, or whatever their interests are, maybe there's something you don't like about them, at the core, somebody really loves that person.
You know what?
So it
it's
just
amazing.
doesn't make sense.
Wow, it's amazing what you're saying, Lisa, because it's all about the human connection. And that's my favorite word this year, human connection. You know what? When I was watching the show the other day, a guy who driving a bike, a motorcycle, and he drive all over the United States in different states, and how like you don't have no money. He said, I'm gonna drive my motorcycle, and I'm gonna ask people to let me sleep in their house and to see if they can feed me. And he's driving all over the United States and all over Europe. And people, you want to see that? Yeah, come over here.
People did.
Come over here. Yeah, do you want something to lunch? Yeah, we'll feed you. We'll feed you and eat. You take pictures. And it's the human connection. How it's like people is like, no, they don't want to know me. They're gonna judge me. Come on, guys. Go and say hi. Go kiss her. My dad always say,
That's what you said last
the
time.
reason why you don't have that girl that you like is because you don't have the guts to go and kiss her. Two things are gonna happen. She's gonna slap you. She's gonna say, you know what? Man, you're a great kisser. You know what I mean? So, it's all about the guts that you put out there and say, you know what, we need to get connected. The phone doesn't connect us anymore, guys. It's a blessing to have this technology, but sometimes we need that touch and the human, that we're still human, that we can connect and give back to all each other. Is that right, Lisa?
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much hope in the world. Do not believe what everybody tells you.
Wow. And one of the things that I know too, you do have a podcast too. Yeah.
I do. I would love to share a couple of things that I have going on.
About that, girl.
Well, there's a couple things. Yes, I do have a podcast. I'm really excited to share about that, and I have a huge event coming up.
Oh my gosh! Come on! You have to take it. So talk about the band. You have to.
Oh, I have to.
Yeah, because you talk about the band.
Oh my gosh! Seriously, J.C., you're making me look like I'm out of my mind.
Yeah, I'm bailing here, girl. We're bailing here.
Yes. So I do have a podcast. You can find it wherever you download your podcasts. It's called Life in Our Skin. Nice. And I'm co-host with a friend of mine, Untitled Champion. It's a podcast for everybody to listen to. But the content that you'll find in the podcast is mostly women who find themselves in between the Black community and the white community.
Wow, amazing.
So really we interview different women and they share their lived experiences so that the world can understand a different perspective. Because most women that find them in between those two communities often have an immigration story and cultural stories that are deeply rooted in how they see the world and how the world sees them. And it's a very different story. And they're often lumped all together, right? And so we're just really highlighting that collective of women and really inviting white women, Black women, men to hear how these women have lived their lives. And nice. we love our podcast. It was kind of a passion project.
I have to bring both of you to talk about that.
Yes,
and that's my next project. I know you guys are really busy, so
yeah, Anahita would love to jump on here.
Both of you, and interview you guys and so we can talk and we can connect because
Yeah.
more people need to know about your podcast. More people need to know about the good things about life, the good
Yeah.
things in life. There's a lot of blessings out there, and you have to just open your eyes, open your hands to receive it.
Yes. Yes. There's a lot of
Sometimes we don't
amazing
open
things
your
out
eyes and you cannot receive it. You don't open. My dad always said that if you knock, somebody will open. If you
there.
scream, somebody will come and help you. But you
Yeah.
don't scream and you don't knock.
Yeah.
Is that right, Lisa?
Yeah. And you were just I just made me think of this one thing that I've been sharing a lot with women too, who are kind of in that space where they're not feeling really happy or they're feeling stuck, is if you want love, be love.
Wow.
If you want a garden, be a gardener. You know, whatever it is that you're missing that you want, be that, and it will become you. And then everything around you will become that. And so it's just a reminder to really go out there and be the life that you want, right? I think that's really important. The other thing I do want to share, which I am
Yes.
super excited about, on International Women's Day, we did give a little bit of a teaser, but it was an announcement for my first inaugural full day event.
Nice.
So I have a full day experience that we're doing on June 3rd. It's called Lisa Harris Presents Ephemera, the Key to Collecting Memories.
Oh my
And
gosh, that's awesome.
So I just invite people. I'm
That
not
sounds
gonna
like a movie, Lisa.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about it. I can't tell a lot about it because we're kind of just teasing it out there, but I really encourage people to check out, my social media, and we'll share all that stuff. But make sure you kind of check it out and join our wait list, because if you're on the wait list, you will get a special email that invites you to the event at a really great incentive. So, and if you're not on the wait list, you won't get that that incentive. And so I encourage women to do that. And then on March 25, we launch it live to the world to start buying tickets for. So
that's
excited.
awesome. No, I'm really excited about that too. And we definitely have to share it, guys. You have to connect with Lisa Harris right now in every single social media. Lisa, talk to me. Tell me about how do we find you? Because I know people out there, you tell me about all this stuff, but how do we find you?
See,
What is the social media and Instagram, Facebook? How do we find Lisa Harris?
You are a good salesperson for sure, JC. Okay, so you are really good. My normal sales pitch, if I wasn't here, my normal sales pitch would be, "Oh, you can find me. You know where to find me." That's basically what I tell people. So I will tell you how to find me. I don't normally tell people how to find me. I'm just like, hope you find me. You can find me on Instagram, Lisa Harrison Company. I'm on Facebook, Lisa Harrison Co. And my website is Lisa Harrison Co. And, for those professional women out there, you can check me out on LinkedIn. And I don't know. I think that's about it. Maybe.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's fine.
I probably missed something, but I can't.
Well, if you miss it, you have to tell me that.
Yeah.
You cannot miss anything in this place. Come on, guys. You're Latin Evolution Radio live, the hottest radio in town. Now she called me a salesman. Guys, I would never sell you anything.
Never.
Absolutely nothing. But here, I'm not trying to sell you Lisa Harris, but I'm telling you, you have to connect with Lisa Harris and everything that she's coming out right now, especially if you're women, there's hope, there's tools out there for you. Get the tool right away because you need it. I'm telling you, there's freedom. You need to look for your freedom. Life is way too short. Believe me, life is way too short to be miserable. Take the tools, run with the tools, find your freedom. This is your time. This is your day to do it. So, Lisa, I know, we talk about so many things, but where is where is the power of change? Where do you start the power of change? Talk to me about the power of change. Do you think there's power in change?
Yeah, it starts with you. It starts with you. You are the power of change.
Amazing.
You are the power of
I wanted to say it again because some women out there, they don't understand that, how do we change? It's the power of change. Is that right?
Yeah, you are in control of your story. I've worked with women who have had, very traumatic experiences, and we've really gotten to the root of their life story, and we've just flipped that on its head. Your life is not a series of traumatic incidences. Our life is a journey. You're going to have all of these struggles and all of these dark moments, but if you forget to realize that there's all of these other light moments that are happening along the way. I mean, in your darkest moment, there was somebody who, helped you, work on your basketball skills, or there was, somebody in your life that was there, or there was, a hobby. Like some people in their darkest moments, like they might start writing. Well, in that moment was light, right? So, I mean, the biggest thing is changing and owning your story, because life isn't really these peaks and valleys. It's just the journey.
And now that we talk about the journey, in your thing that you're gonna have now in June, you know what I mean? That's lost for 1 minute. I need my Red Bull, Isaiah. No, I'm playing. No, in this journey that you're talking about, like if I decide, if I'm a mom and I have daughters, can I bring my daughter to your event?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because you're talking about women, and I know
Yeah,
there's so many girls out there that are really
yeah,
young, 16, 17, they're struggling with identity, they're struggling with drugs, they're struggling with pills
yeah,
right now because they cannot find it because they're being abused too. How do I reach that? How do I want to talk about the younger
yeah.
generation, because I know you focus a lot with corporate American women, and I know you have, you're good with that. How do you touch those girls? Can I bring my girls? Can I? Do we have an access for that too? If I call you and stuff like that.
Yeah. I would say that's not my sweet spot. I do work with young girls. I do mentoring,
Hmm.
um, but they're not really formally part of the platform. And I just leave that space for other women who are focusing on young girls. Um,
But if I can reach you, will you send me to the right path so I can
Yes,
help my girls
absolutely. I
and
mean,
stuff like
that's
that?
one thing that most of the women who are very connected to my community women know, that whether it's me or somebody in my community, I'm always connecting people. So people are always like, why are the women so fiercely loyal to you? It's kind of beyond the platform, it's beyond the coaching. If you're struggling with something and you don't want to tell anybody about it, and then I know this other woman who's struggling with something and she doesn't want to tell anybody about it, I'm like their connection. So I have the ability to connect them to each other with their
Okay.
permission. So there's a lot of women I've connected with and connected them to other people. So my network is large enough that if there is a young, I mean, I have a lot of women in my network who are moms that are navigating their
Struggling with
young
this.
girls. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yes.
And so, I mean, I connect them with each other, and then, I connect them with other support networks that do that. I'd like to stay really focused with the women I want to serve. And if I can heal and help them grow, then they can be better providers and caregivers for their children. So that's kind of my focus. But I do some formal mentoring for high school and college age girls.
Okay. No, it was
Yeah.
good. It was good to ask because I
Yeah.
know there's a lot
No,
of
it
women
is.
out
Yeah.
there who's okay. If I come to the event, would you to help my daughter too, who's going through these struggles? I think this new generation, and I was telling you too, there's so many struggles out there, and I know it's corporate America too, and there's these girls who come into, they're looking at, like for example, like yesterday, we had the Kardashians, who they come out everything, and I love the Kardashians. Don't get me wrong, I love Kim. I love you, Kim. I love you, Chloe. You're my girl. But you know what I mean. The thing is that what I mean. I want to say, go back to what I was saying. You know what I mean. It's like there's hope. It's just them. You know what I mean. There's a lot of things to change, and
Well,
examples to follow.
yeah, and the other thing is, I mean, I have had young girls come with their mothers. I mean, it's up to their mother, their parent,
Exactly.
because there's a lot of really, deep content. So, their parents' approval. I have had some women bring their daughters. Usually, I recommend that they're, um, late teens, um, not preteen or anything like that. So, yeah.
Good, good, good. One more question before we almost end it here. I want to ask you something really important. What do you do when you're in an abusive relationship as a woman? Do you run or you stay?
Are you talking like domestic violence?
Yes, exactly.
Um, I just don't know. That's a really hard question. I think you really have to do your research before you leave, because it could become more dangerous.
Mhm.
Um, I do think that it's important to find your power, but you have to be very thoughtful about how you go about doing it. So I, would recommend to those women to seek somebody that they can trust, in their network or in their community. It often takes women multiple times before they're able to free their hearts,
Exactly.
because they at one point
They're
fell in love
trapped.
with this person and they're trapped. So,
Wow.
I do think it's really important to be mindful of how you go about doing that, because you could put yourself in a lot of danger too.
No, yeah,
Um,
see, I know I can feel that too. Yeah. Listen, what's a blessing to have you here.
Thank
I'm
you.
telling you right now, this is a great show. I'm gonna have to bring you back with your friend for the podcast too.
Yes,
You know what I mean? We're gonna have here.
Anahita, that's
Yeah.
you.
And here we're gonna bring you here, girl. You know what I mean? We're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna have some Diet Coke here, maybe some Red Bull if you like it too. And we're gonna have all that energy because I want to make sure you guys share that story too. How you like we can connect with different women, different color, different race, and in one world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm telling you, Lisa, it's been a blessing to have you here. You know what I mean? It's an honor for me to have Lisa Harris. Guys, this is crazy. The one and only Lisa Harris. You know what I mean? So you can follow Lisa Harris and Company, you know what I mean? On Instagram and Facebook and all the platforms out there. And you can find the book. Where you can find your book too?
Amazon,
And Amazon, Unveil Beauty.
Unveiled Beauty, handwritten
You can
stories
say
from the
that there.
poetic
Say
heart.
that. Unveil Beauty. Is that right?
Unveiled Beauty. Yep.
Unveil Beauty. Awesome. Guys, thank you for following me, guys. Thank everybody who's connected. It's a blessing to have all you guys today. You know what I mean? A wonderful, you know what I mean? All you guys who follow me, all you guys who write me every single day, every single week. It's an honor to be here with you and bring you amazing people to share their stories. I know there's a lot of hope out there for women. There's a lot of hope out there for men. So, just start walking the walk. There's freedom out there for you. There's a right tool for you guys out there. This is J.C.Campos. This is Latin Evolution Radio, the hottest radio in town. And this is round one. See you next Thursday with a hot, somebody else is going to be really, really hot here in my show. So get connected and download the app. And this is J.C.Campos in Latin Evolution Radio. See you guys. Take care.
I don't know how you do it, JC. Oh my gosh. This is like my most tired day all week, too.